Maya stood on the archery range, the sun beating down mercilessly on her back. Sweat trickled down her temple as she gripped the bow with trembling hands. Around her, the other students whispered, their eyes sharp and mocking. The archery coach, Mr. Grayson, a stern man with a cold glare, stood beside her, arms crossed. "Again," he barked, "you're wasting everyone's time." Maya's cheeks burned. She had been practicing for months, yet every time she nocked an arrow and aimed, her shot would wobble or miss the mark entirely. Today was no different. Her arrow veered off, thudding into the dirt far from the target. Laughter bubbled from the onlookers. Maya felt her heart sink. She wanted to disappear, to melt away from their harsh gazes. "Useless," Mr. Grayson sneered. "You'll never be a good archer." Those words stung more than the sun, more than the sweat dripping down her face. Maya clenched her jaw and wiped her tears away. She had come here to learn, to prove something, to herself, if no one else. But the humiliation was overwhelming. The story of Maya's journey was not just about archery. It was about resilience, about fighting back against doubt and cruelty, about unlocking a hidden strength no one knew she had, even herself. Maya hadn't always dreamed of archery. She was a simple woman from a quiet town, working a modest job, living an ordinary life. But inside her was a restless spirit, a need to challenge herself, to break free from the invisible chains of fear and low confidence that had bound her for years. When she first walked into the archery club, the smell of wood and leather, the quiet focus of the archers, sparked something deep within her. She wanted to learn, to belong, to rise above her own limitations, but the road was harder than she expected. Her coach, Mr. Grayson, was known for being tough. Too tough, some whispered. He didn't just teach archery, he tore down weaknesses, brutally, demanding perfection. Many quit under his watch. Maya's first few lessons were rough. Her arms shook, her arrows scattered wildly. Each missed shot felt like a personal failure, but she refused to give up. One afternoon, the humiliation reached a peak. During a group practice, Maya was called out by Mr. Grayson for her poor aim. In front of the whole club, he mocked her clumsiness, telling her she was hopeless. Maya's face burned with shame as whispers and chuckles filled the air. She felt tears prick her eyes but swallowed them down. She clenched her fists, her body trembling, not from weakness, but from a fierce determination growing inside. That night, she lay awake, mind racing. She thought about quitting, about hiding away forever. But another voice, quieter yet stronger, told her to fight. If she could just focus, if she could just find a way to block out the noise, maybe she could prove them all wrong. The days that followed were filled with quiet training sessions, long hours practicing alone. Maya learned to steady her breathing, to slow her heartbeat, to visualize the target before pulling the bowstring. She worked on every detail, her stance, her grip, the release. Slowly, painfully, her arrows began to find the mark. Still, Mr. Grayson's harsh words haunted her. She knew she needed to silence that voice in her head, the one that told her she wasn't good enough. Then came the day no one expected. The club announced a blindfold challenge, an event where archers had to shoot at the target without looking, relying on muscle memory and intuition. Most laughed it off. It was considered impossible to hit the bullseye blindfolded, but Maya saw it as a chance to prove herself. The night before the event, she barely slept. She practiced blindfolded in her small apartment, fumbling at first, then gradually gaining confidence. The morning of the challenge arrived. As Maya stood on the range, blindfold tied firmly over her eyes, the crowd buzzed with disbelief. Even Mr. Grayson looked skeptical. She took a deep breath. The bow felt familiar in her hands. She drew the string, listened to her body, and released. The arrow flew true. One by one, shot after shot, Maya hit the bullseye. Every single time. The crowd went silent, then erupted into stunned applause. Mr. Grayson's face betrayed a flicker of respect, no longer mockery. Maya smiled beneath her blindfold, tears of triumph streaming down. That moment changed everything. From humiliation to triumph, Maya's journey was a powerful testament to the human spirit's ability to rise against all odds. Despite her success at the blindfold challenge, Maya knew this was just the beginning. The respect she gained was real, but so were the challenges ahead. Archery was more than hitting a target. It was a battle with one's mind, with fear, and with self-doubt. After the event, Maya was approached by some club members who congratulated her quietly. They admitted they had underestimated her. One older woman, Helen, who had been a champion in her youth, gave her a knowing smile. "You've got heart, Maya," Helen said softly. "Keep it up, and you'll surprise even yourself." Those words sparked a new fire inside Maya. She began to train harder, waking before dawn to practice when the world was quiet. She studied archery books, watched videos, analyzed her form. Yet the harshest critic remained Mr. Grayson. He didn't openly praise her, but his tone shifted just enough that Maya could tell he was watching her closely. Weeks passed. Maya improved steadily. Her arrows grouped tighter, her confidence grew, but inside fear still lingered. What if the success was a fluke? What if she fell back into failure? One afternoon, during a private training session, Mr. Grayson approached her. "I want you to try something harder," he said, handing her a heavier bow, one used by advanced archers. Maya's hands trembled. The heavier bow required more strength and precision. She took a deep breath, recalled all her training and aimed. The arrow flew, farther and truer than ever before. Mr. Grayson nodded, almost approvingly. "You're not useless anymore," he said quietly. Maya smiled, feeling a surge of pride and relief, but the real test was yet to come. A regional archery tournament was announced, open to all clubs. It was the chance Maya had been waiting for, to prove herself beyond her local circle. The night before the tournament, Maya felt a storm of emotions: excitement, anxiety, hope, and fear. Could she perform under pressure? Could she silence the voice of doubt? On the day of the tournament, the arena buzzed with competitors from different towns, each skilled and confident. Maya stood behind the line, her bow ready, blindfold in hand for the optional blindfold round. The first rounds were tough. Maya's shots were steady, but the competition was fierce. After several rounds, Maya was still in the game. Then came the blindfold round. The crowd hushed as Maya tied the blindfold over her eyes again. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and focused. Her mind emptied of noise. She could hear only her heartbeat, feel only the bow's weight. She aimed by instinct. The arrow struck the bullseye, again and again. One by one, her arrows hit the center, astonishing everyone. Maya's heart pounded, but she stayed calm. When the round ended, the applause was thunderous. Maya had not just won a challenge, she had won respect, and more importantly, she had won herself. Her journey was far from over, but this was her moment, the moment when humiliation turned into triumph, when doubt became determination, and the story of the simple woman who beat the odds was just beginning. The cheers from the tournament still echoed faintly in Maya's mind, but the taste of victory was bittersweet. While she had proven herself in the arena, a new and unfamiliar challenge was creeping into her life, one that no amount of skill or strength could prepare her for. The following days after the tournament were a whirlwind. Invitations poured in to join other clubs, offers to train with professionals, and praise from people who had once doubted her. Yet behind the applause, Maya sensed something darker lurking beneath the surface. Mr. Grayson's cold gaze no longer carried mockery, but something more complex. A blend of grudging respect and something unspoken, something that unsettled her. Maya tried to immerse herself in training, pushing harder than ever. But at night, doubts gnawed at her. Whispers from the club, the sideways glances, the vague comments about her luck in the blindfold round, they all weighed heavily on her spirit. One evening, as Maya was leaving the club after a late practice, she noticed Mr. Grayson standing in the shadows near the entrance. He called her over. "Come with me," he said, his voice low. Curious and cautious, Maya followed him into a small, dimly lit room she hadn't seen before. The walls were lined with old photographs of archers from decades past, their faces stern and proud. "This place," Mr. Grayson began, "is where we keep the legacy of our club." He paused, looking at her seriously. "You have talent, yes, but talent alone won't protect you from what's coming." Maya frowned. "What do you mean?" Mr. Grayson leaned closer. "There are people who don't want you to succeed, not just rivals on the range, but others who see your rise as a threat." Maya's heart raced. Was this a warning or a threat? The days after that conversation were filled with strange occurrences. Her equipment was tampered with, arrows mysteriously bent or broken. She received anonymous notes slipped under her door, with cryptic messages like, "Stop now or face the consequences." Fear twisted in her gut, but Maya refused to back down. She confided in Helen, the older champion who had supported her quietly. Helen listened carefully. "This is bigger than just archery, Maya. Some clubs play dirty. They want control, dominance. They don't like surprises." Helen's words made Maya realize her journey wasn't just about hitting bullseyes. It was about surviving a world she had never imagined. Despite the threats, Maya's resolve hardened. She increased her training, focusing not just on her aim, but on her awareness, her instincts. One night, while practicing late, she caught movement near the club. A shadow darted away, but not before. Maya glimpsed a familiar face, the captain of a rival club known for ruthless tactics. The next day, Maya confronted the man. His smirk told her he was enjoying the game. "Better watch your back," he sneered. "This isn't a friendly competition anymore." Maya reported the incident to the club's board, but many dismissed her concerns. They valued reputation and prize money over fairness. Feeling isolated, Maya realized she needed allies. She reached out to archers from other clubs who had experienced similar intimidation. Together, they formed a quiet coalition, sharing information and strategies to protect themselves. This underground network grew slowly, fueled by shared frustration and a desire for justice. As the new tournament season approached, the tension escalated. Rumors of sabotage and bribery swirled. Maya and her allies prepared for battle, not just on the range, but behind the scenes. During a critical match, Maya's bowstring snapped mid-shot, nearly causing a dangerous accident. She suspected sabotage. Determined to fight back, Maya used her blindfold technique as a secret weapon. She trained to shoot blindfolded with different bows, anticipating attempts to sabotage her equipment. Her confidence grew, but so did the threats. One evening, after a grueling practice, Maya found her home ransacked, papers scattered, valuables missing, and a chilling note. "We know where you live." Fear was no longer just an emotion. It was a constant presence. But Maya refused to be broken. She called Helen, who suggested moving temporarily for safety. Maya agreed, packing her essentials and retreating to Helen's remote cabin. There, surrounded by nature and the quiet strength of the forest, Maya found peace and focus. The cabin became her sanctuary, a place to heal and strategize. Helen helped, Maya refined her skills, pushing her limits, teaching her mental toughness. They trained day and night, blindfolded shooting, endurance exercises, meditation. Maya's aim sharpened, her mind cleared. She wasn't just an archer anymore. She was a warrior. Meanwhile, news of Maya's disappearance spread. Rumors flew. Some believed she fled out of fear. Others whispered about a secret scandal. Maya knew she had to return stronger. Her final test was looming, the national championship, where she would face her rivals and the shadows that haunted her. The journey from humiliation to champion was far from over. Maya's battle had become a fight for her life, her dignity, and the truth, and she was ready. The morning sunlight filtered softly through the tall pines surrounding Helen's cabin. Maya awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The days of fear and hiding were behind her. The national championship was only weeks away, and she was determined to face her rivals head-on, not just on the archery range, but in the battle for her future. Helen handed Maya a warm cup of tea as she stretched. "You're ready," she said firmly, "stronger than ever." Maya smiled, but inside, the knot of anxiety still lingered. She knew the stakes were higher now. The whispers of sabotage and threats still echoed in her mind. But this time, she would not be alone. Returning to the city was like stepping back into a war zone. Maya's name was everywhere, some cheering her as an underdog hero, others warning her to quit while she could. At the championship venue, the arena buzzed with tension. The crowd was larger than any Maya had faced, and the pressure was crushing. She spotted Mr. Grayson in the stands, his expression unreadable. He nodded once, a silent acknowledgement that meant more than words. The tournament began with fierce competition. Archers from across the country showcased their skills. Maya's blindfold technique was now her trademark, a symbol of her resilience. Round after round, she stayed in the lead. But the shadow of sabotage loomed. A competitor's bow mysteriously malfunctioned mid-match, sending a ripple of suspicion through the crowd. Maya knew she had to stay vigilant. During a break, Maya was approached by a young man named Daniel. He introduced himself as an investigator hired by the Archery Federation to look into the recent sabotage claims. "I believe someone's trying to undermine you," Daniel said quietly. "I want to help." Maya wasn't sure if she could trust him, but desperation pushed her to accept. Over the next days, Daniel and Maya worked together. They reviewed footage, questioned witnesses, and uncovered suspicious patterns. Equipment, tampering, bribed officials, and covert threats. The deeper they dug, the clearer the picture became. A powerful group within the archery community wanted Maya out of the way. Her rise threatened their control. The tension escalated during a critical semi-final match. Maya's bowstring snapped again, this time on live television. Gasps filled the arena, but Maya remained calm. She switched to a backup bow, trained to handle any equipment blindfolded. Her first shot struck the bullseye. The crowd erupted. Behind the scenes, Daniel discovered evidence linking the sabotage to a rival club's captain, the very man Maya had confronted months ago. Maya confronted him again, this time with proof. The man's smug confidence faltered. Faced with undeniable evidence, he had no choice but to back down. With the rival club exposed, the Federation took swift action, suspended members, launched investigations, and pledged to clean up the sport. Maya's name became a symbol, not just of skill, but of courage and integrity. The championship final was a showdown between Maya and the country's reigning champion Lucas, a man known for his ruthless tactics and unmatched precision. The tension was palpable. As the final match began, Maya focused on her breathing, her heartbeat, the familiar weight of the bow. Lucas fired first, an almost perfect shot. Maya responded, steady and confident. The arrows flew back and forth, the scores neck and neck. In the final round, Maya tied. Her blindfold, ready to shoot by instinct alone. Lucas smirked. "You're lucky once, but not twice." Maya's hands were steady, her mind clear. She released the arrow, Bullseye. The crowd exploded with cheers. Maya had won, but the victory wasn't just about the trophy. It was about proving that integrity, resilience, and courage could triumph over fear and corruption. After the match, Mr. Grayson approached Maya, his voice softer than ever. "You did well, better than I imagined." Maya smiled. "Thank you for everything." That night, Maya sat alone, reflecting on her journey. From humiliation to champion, from fear to strength, from doubt to belief. Her story was far from over, but she had taken the first step toward a new chapter, one where she would inspire others to fight for their dreams, no matter the odds. The victory at the national championship was more than a personal triumph for Maya. It was a turning point for the entire archery community. But with great success came even greater challenges. The battle Maya had fought in the arena was only part of the story. The fight for justice and truth was just beginning. In the days following the championship, Maya found herself at the center of intense media attention. Interviews, photo shoots, and invitations flooded in. People wanted to know her story, the girl who had been humiliated, who had fought back against corruption and had emerged victorious. But amidst the praise, Maya remained grounded. She knew the darkness she had faced wasn't fully behind her. Daniel, the investigator who had helped expose the sabotage, approached her with new information. "There's more to uncover," he said quietly. "The corruption runs deeper than we thought. Some powerful figures don't want this exposed." Maya's heart sank. The threat was far from over. Determined to bring everything into the light, Maya agreed to work with Daniel and a small group of honest officials to launch a full investigation. They uncovered a web of deceit involving bribery, match-fixing, and intimidation that had plagued the sport for years. The scale was shocking. As the investigation progressed, Maya faced pressure from those who wanted her silenced. Threats became more frequent, and attempts to discredit her increased. But Maya's resolve only grew stronger. She knew that true victory meant not just winning on the range, but cleaning up the sport she loved. One evening, Maya received a visit from an unexpected ally, Mr. Grayson. The man who had once humiliated her now stood beside her, offering support. "I was wrong about you," he admitted. "You're not just talented, you're brave, and that scares people." Maya nodded. "We need to stand together if we want change." With new allies, Maya helped organize workshops and seminars to promote fairness and integrity in archery. She became a mentor to young archers, teaching them not just how to shoot, but how to stand up for what's right. Months later, the Federation announced sweeping reforms, new rules, transparent processes, and strict penalties for corruption. Maya's efforts had sparked a revolution. In a final gesture of reconciliation, Mr. Grayson publicly apologized to Maya in front of the archery community. "It took me time to see your strength," he said. "Thank you for showing us the way." The crowd applauded, and Maya felt a deep sense of closure. As Maya stood once more on the competition stage, this time as a coach and leader, she reflected on her journey, from a simple woman humiliated to a champion who changed the game. Her story was proof that courage and resilience could overcome even the darkest challenges. And as the sun set over the archery range, Maya knew this was only the beginning. A new chapter, filled with hope, integrity, and the promise of a better future for all. The end.